I'm just finishing off one of the flowers with the blanket stitch. I'll just show you. This, the actual facing I used on the fabric isn't doing such a great job. So I'm making sure I, don't take too small a stitch, otherwise you can't even see it basically. So that's that done. I'll just tie that off at the back. There. Okay, so what I was doing is just coming across to the dot here, and not a lot of thread left there, I'll just show you, and just doing a colonial knot on it. And although it's not very noticeable, like you can barely see it, but I've done down here, see, as you move the page, you can get glimpses of it. So it's very subtle. So just a figure 8. Not too big. Back in. Just pull it a little, not too tight. Hold it and pull it through. That helps to stop any tangles. So I will continue on and finish up these little dots. Oh no, okay, so I will unstitch the back and I'll continue on with the dots. You can see them, but only just. And then I'll have to come back and work out, then we need to do the wording as well. Okay, so all the dots are done, all the blanket stitch is done. I got sidetracked, did some cross stitches down there. I did some herringbone stitch down here and some little colonial knots because the fabric was slightly uneven, so I just did that. So I'm just coming up in my words here. I have 2 strands of the darker thread, and I'm just going to start stitching. Just like a stem stitch. And I decided to start it at the top of the S rather than the bottom so that I can go across quite easily. This needle isn't the sharpest, but it'll be all right, I'm sure. I better show you what I'm doing. So I've come out there, I'm going to the previous stitch, I'm just moving it over slightly, going in about halfway down, and then bringing it up on my line here. Same thing again, moving it over, down, bringing it up on my line, like that. And because I'm only using 2 threads, it should look fairly neat. And I just hand wrote the words here, mainly because I couldn't trace them because I'd stitched it all on first and I wouldn't be able to see through it, so, but it's okay. So I'm just going to go ahead and do all these letters in exactly the same way. And that's what I'll do. So I'll go ahead and do that, and then I'll come back. I'm not quite sure where I left off. I really can't remember where I left off. Did I tell you I did cross stitch there, herringbone? I think I did. I stitched this little bit of lace on. I did 2 rows of running stitch that you can't see a lot of across there. I also overcast stitched the edge of the doily on, neater than the title page, and I've drawn in a couple of swirls here and here and on this side as well, and I'm just in the process of stitching that. I'm doing a little stem stitch. I can't quite work out, I think they may have used some sort of back stitch, but it's so old and so pressed, it's a little bit hard to see what they've done. But I don't think it'll matter if it's a bit different, because if I can't really tell what they've done there, then you're not really going to notice a difference. So I'm using 1 thread for this because it's quite fine, and I've got the closest colour I could find to it. And it's fairly close. I don't think it's perfect, but it's fairly close. And so I'm going to go around these little vines that I've done. And put a couple of leaves on these end ones here. Hopefully I've got the right colour green. And then I just need to decide what to do for here. And then I can probably say it's done. It's very windy here today. Blustery. I had to go out this morning. I thought I was going to get blown away. Hair's all full of static electricity. I have to go out again shortly as well. So I come back and I think, did I tell you this or not? So forgive me if I'm repeating myself a little bit, but I've been in and out a little bit the last couple of days. Oh, I finished stitching the words as well. I haven't ironed it yet, so the ink is still visible, so I can't really tell how it looks until I've put some heat on it. Hopefully I got most of the spots, because sometimes when you're using a dark thread and you've got dark image behind it, it's hard to tell whether you've got it or not. Okay, so that's that. That looks pretty good. You know, a good match, I mean. Yeah, so and then this little one here, and on that side as well. So I'll go ahead and do that, and I'll come back when I do the green leaves of it. All right, so I've done the little twiny bits. I didn't like the end bits, how they turned out, so I've just found a couple of flowers that I will stitch on that kind of go with what I've got going there. I did put some more words on. I wrote corms because apparently the anemone and the gladiolus are not true bulbs. They're called corms, but it's thrown in with the same mix. What they are is, I wrote it down, underground storage vessels. That's what they're described as. So I thought I'd put corm at the top here, and then a couple of arrows, stems and petals. I couldn't fit flowers in, so I put petals instead. And now I just thought I'd do a little bit of stitching on these pictures here, just to fill them in a little bit. The embroidery threads that I found are not great matches, but it's what I've got, so I'm just going to do a little bit of stitching over the petals, and they're just straight stitches, long stitches, I guess you could say. And I'm just doing, like I'm not doing them all. On this one I'm going to do the lighter colour because I don't have any peachy threads. It's not a colour I really like that much, so I veer more towards pink than peach or orange tones. But this one's it's a peachy pink, so it works all right. And I'll just do it in the lighter sections. Like that. So I'll do it there and there, and is that light? And there, and there. And with this one, I was originally going to use this one for over here, but then I couldn't find anything for this one. So with this one over here, I'm going to do the darker tones, and that is darker than that, but it's the closest kind of match I can get. Although I guess I could also use this in the lighter one over there, and that would bring them together. I'll try one and see how that goes, but that's what I'm going to do next. Just do the straight stitching over those petals. And I still want to do something just around the edge of this doily and stitch these flowers on here, and then I think that's it for that page. I put the arrows in, did I mention that? Because I thought it looked more field note-ish. I mean, I'm not going for a complete field note look. I'm just doing what I want to do, basically. I mean, it is field notes, but I'm not being too pure about it. So I will go ahead, and I'm going to try and keep my stitching in the same direction as much as I possibly can. But whether that turns out or not, I don't know. And I found whenever I'm doing work like this, if you just go over it at the end like that and mush it, it all joins together really nicely, like it's meant to be. It just blends all the stitches together and it gives it a really nice finish. So I'll go ahead and do those things and then I'll be back. Alright, so I did all that lovely stitching across there, which turned out really nice. I put sequins, some old vintage sequins in the green flowers here. Then I had these lovely little mother of pearl buttons still on their little bit of foil, so I pinched a bit of those. I usually save those ones for display, but they're so pretty and I think they work well in the centre there for buttons. And I'm just doing the little bit of green going around the doily now, and I'm doing what's called a closed buttonhole stitch, and I'll just show you how that goes. So I decide where I want my thread's coming out here, so on an angle I'm coming up and I'm bringing it back where it first came out like that, then bringing my thread over, going straight back in this top hole and coming out on an angle this way, but catching the thread around it, and it makes a V shape. And I just thought that would be, and then when you start again, you just take it in here and bring it back where the thread came out over here. So it's always on an angle and always catching that thread. And hopefully that will be just what it needs to add a bit of colour around the edge of the doily here. And then I think I'll be finished. I don't think it needs anything after that. I don't know where I'm going to put that. I'm going to have to just take it in like that, I think. Make it pretend a hole under there. And then just take it through the back like that, and then come out. Where's it going to come out? About there, I think. Yeah, okay. So I think that will look nice and just add a bit of colour around the top of the doily. So I will finish that and then I'll show you and we're done. Alright, I'm done. I've finished the closed buttonhole stitch around there. And I did that in 3 strands of embroidery thread. The words here were done in 1 strand, and the words down the bottom were done in 2 strands. The little vines were done in 1 strand. The overcast stitch and the buttonhole stitch around the images were both done in crochet cotton. So, as were the little colonial knots on the dotted tool. And that's it. That's my spring bulbs page. I hope you've enjoyed that. I think it turned out quite nicely. I know there's no actual bulbs on it, but that's okay. These are spring bulb flowers, or corms, if we want to be technical. But it's all a bit of fun, isn't it? So there we go. Thank you so much for watching, and I'm looking forward to seeing what they do on Wednesday. I'll put all the details to the Roxy Girls in the description box below if you want to join in on the field notes project for the 6 months ending this year. So take care, everybody. Bye.